What was it that Kevin Costner said in the Untouchables? Losing is half the battle. Many things are half the battle. Let's concentrate on what is all the battle.
Top troopers fall through an endless sky. Military science fiction contest.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about, is it 2025 yet? I'm not sure. Is
It
it?
is 2025.
Yeah, okay, it's 2025. It's no longer
In my
2024.
space-time continuum, it is 2025
It's
In my
continually,
space-time continuum, it's 1989 and will continue to be.
it's pretty much
Yeah.
2005.
I'm gonna go with
forever.
94 because I'll have like the best year for movies right up to that point. So
Yeah,
maybe 98 because The Matrix came out in 98, right?
I was going
99.
to say 98, 99. I want to say The
I think it
Matrix.
came out in
Yeah.
99.
yeah,
Yeah.
before the year 2000. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Today we're talking about 2025, our personal plans for the year, and then also our plans for the show. And this will be the first episode of season 2 of the Military Science Fiction podcast. So
Who knew we'd make it this long?
I know. Who knew we'd
Things to talk about.
Previously on Military Science Fiction Podcast.
I know. We need to get Burn enough to give us our greatest hits.
Yeah, there you go.
But
You
this
should
has
ask
been,
them to do that.
I know. Planning ahead is something I hope to do more of in 2025. I got to make
The New Year's resolution.
I know. Well, I just read Atomic Habits again by James Clear, and like, you don't make goals. You say, I am a person who plans ahead. That's part of my identity.
I want
That's
to
how
read.
get
I want
that
to read
done.
a sequel to that book, Thermonuclear Habits.
Thermonuclear habits. Those are too
Yeah.
big. You got to break it down to the tiny atomic habits. Maybe quantum
Wouldn't you
habits.
prefer a nice
I
game
have
of
found
chess?
in my career,
Quantum-
mindset is
quantum
100%
tunneling
of this
habits.
business.
I agree with you. I don't know if everybody heard that. Like Jeff said, mindset is 100% of success in this business, which I agree. I mean, in a way, we're making reality with the stories, right? So you got to make reality
what
for yourself.
You know what G.I. Joe said? Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle.
Boy, mindset. I'm trying to get into the mindset of actually working this week because I've had a week and a half off and I don't know what to do with myself now.
Yep.
It's almost worse to take time off than it is to just keep working through it because you have such a hard time getting back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on Monday I was playing one of my computer games on Monday morning, and I told myself while I was drinking coffee, playing this computer game, I'll play it for an hour or two and then jump into work. And that was about 8:30, and then around 10, Steve sent everybody a message to take the week off, and I said, "Well, I'm not getting any work done this week. I'm just gonna play my game all week," and I did.
What game?
I play a really boring factory simulation game called Satisfactory.
There's no such thing as a boring factory simulation game.
It's not like Call
if
of
you look
Duty.
at my Steam account, you'd see like 400 hours in Dyson Sphere.
Well, I've played Dyson Sphere too. Satisfactory is like that, except it's first person and a sandbox, so you can build whatever you want. And it's almost like the best example of it is like Dyson Sphere mixed with Minecraft. You can do whatever you want, build whatever you want. And so I'm building a cyberpunk city. So I just sit there and
I just go back to the Cyberpunk. I've got a New Game Plus mod now that I can just play it forever. Like, just go
nice.
blast people in Night City. Like, this is another, we didn't even talk about this. Like, we should at some point talk about games that we love that tie back into military science fiction.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So why don't we start with individual plans and then talk about some plans for the show. So who would like to jump in first with that?
Which one?
Well, I know what I'm going to do, but does anybody else got
personal plans? Well, Josh, go for it then. Jump in.
So my plans this year are to finally get the entire trilogy of Weaponized done and out. I'm hoping that announces my comeback into the arena.
So the same plan as for last year then.
Yeah.
Hey.
Except last year got screwed up because I had to finish second star, and so that kind of ruined that. But no, I'm super close to being done with the first Weaponized book. I'm like halfway done with book 2, and so this year I want to hopefully in the first quarter of this year finish that off. And we'll see if that announces a comeback for me or not in the genre. If it doesn't, then I'll have a thriller book, a modern day kind of spy action military thriller that I am really excited to jump into. So we'll see. I I do. November, I had a really, really good writing month. December was not very good, and I'm my plan is I don't really make resolutions because I always break them, but my plan is to really this year nail it down. I saw a lot of year-end author posts this week, and seeing all that success, even outside of our genre, from writers, it kind of negates almost the kind of gloom and doom uh, attitude I've had about publishing and all of that recently, and so I'm kind of really excited to kind of step into the ring again and see if I can push some books and make them successful.
You're too much on the
Um,
inside, Josh. You
I
seem
know
familiar.
it's
You
it's
know,
it's a that I'm trying to separate that, and I think that one of my goals this year is to get the writing done before I do the publisher work. And so if I can get the words done for a couple hours and then jump into we're so far ahead now that it's easy that I don't have to sit in for last year. I was struggling because we were on schedule and then Dragon Con forced us to get ahead of schedule. And so it was Monday through Friday of just nothing but publisher work. And so we're so far ahead now that I think we can keep the trend alive of getting the words done and also getting the publishing work done. And hopefully I can separate the two mindsets a little bit. And
I'm going to borrow this from James. You are a writer who succeeds.
I've had success as an author, and I am really proud of the things that I've done, and it's just been a long time since I've had a book out by myself. I mean, I did Tranquility, but the last quote unquote real release I had was Valor, and that was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And so I'm really, really excited this year to get Weaponized out and get back into it and just start nailing it again, man.
Don't
I
call
miss
it a
that
comeback,
feeling.
Josh. You've been here for years.
That's right.
Oh, come back.
Just go ahead and knock
Um,
it out.
so that's me, man. That's me in a nutshell. I'm really kind of focused on the words this year and getting the productivity back up to where it needs to be, and honestly, really enjoying everybody else's success at the same time. I kind of get both sets of the same coin. Athon had a really, really, really good year last year, and a lot of that success comes from authors like Jeff and Rick who launched good books last year, and we've had a lot of first time authors last year that had really, really good successful launches, and that uh, inspires me to put out some books. So that's my long-winded, rambling way of saying I'm going to push forward this year and really kind of nail. I'm not going to hit Rick's level of productivity. I know that for a fact. But if I can get like half of that, I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be in a good shot.
Million years of word, right? Or a million words a year. Million years,
Years of word would be.
Yeah.
Well, how's the
million words
goal
a
with
year.
Athon? Is that going to get bigger and maybe take more of your time? Is that a thing you got to think about?
Yeah, it is growing. There's a couple other projects that we have working right now that may cut into the time. I've got another project that I probably could talk about, but I'm not going to right now. That is it's creative, it's writing adjacent, but it's not book related. And so hopefully if that project uh goes in a good direction, that'll cut into my novel writing time, but that is also a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But Athon work is taking off. Last year we brought on another guy to help us with formatting, and so it took a lot of the weight off of my shoulders. But there's still a lot of work that needs done. But I think we've hit kind of a good level playing field where we're at a spot where we want to be in terms of business.
Mhm.
I think if we tried to compound it and do more, it would probably start negatively impacting us, as far as books and the number of books that we publish. Well, I was talking to Steve about it yesterday. One of the things that we've done for the last couple of years is put together a kind of a wallpaper of all the books that we published, and this year we chose not to do that, for a couple of reasons. But we've definitely expanded significantly this last year, and I think we're at a good spot right now. So the work will probably increase, but hopefully not in a way that's detrimental to my personal writing time.
Got to hire an assistant.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Well, that's for me. I mean, I could ramble on for hours, but what about you guys? What are your goals for this year?
Well, this last year, kind of a
He's got a
blur.
lot of work ahead of him.
This last year was kind of a blur, and I expect this coming year to be one too. I wrote 1 million words last year, which is, I believe, looking at it, I think it's the third time I've done it. So I did it in 2020, and I believe I did it in 2023. I'm not sure if I did in 2022. I can't find anywhere I wrote that down. In the way it's going to sound weird to some people, but I am not 100% certain how many books I completed last year. It's either 8 or 9. And that also depends on whether you count one I started in 2023 and finished in 2024. So I think I did 8, but it might have been 9. And this coming year, oh my God, I am almost finished with the first book in a new series for Athon. I have to write at least 2 more of those, probably in this coming year. Hopefully get them done in this coming year, because I'd like the series to launch at some point this coming year. I've also got to write at least 2 more books in the Taken to the Stars series with Variant to wrap up that series. Then I have another series with Variant that I already have a commitment with a audiobook publisher to write 6 books in. Not going to get all 6 done next year. That ain't going to happen. And then I have another.
And that's a MILSF series, or is that a space opera series?
Kind of space opera.
That's the one we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to reading that one.
And I also have
No pressure.
another project that's going to be 4 books long that I can't really talk about, but that I will have to get done probably at least by the first quarter of next year, of 2026. So that means I have to probably, realistically write at least 8 books this year, maybe 9. I also just committed to a short story for Craig Martell's anthology. He's coming out the end of the year.
It's the end of the year, right?
Yeah. So I got plenty of time. I don't have to even start working on that until July or something. But yeah, I'm super busy, and the things that I want to work on aren't always the same as the things that I will get a lot of money for working on. So like the project, the secret project, pays a lot of money. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's going to pay a lot of money. And then the new series has, an audiobook contract already. So it's those are important to write on, but I'm really excited about this new Archangel series that I started for Athon. I'm almost done with book 1. I should be done in a couple days, and 4 or 5 days. And I like where it's going. I'm interested in the characters, so that's the one I'm really excited about. I'm
Archangel, is that MILSFPOD too, or is that more space
Archangel?
opera?
Yeah, it's military science fiction.
And one thing I wanted to know before anybody, like, why is Rick talking about things like he's upset about doing things that make a lot of money but aren't what he wants to write or whatever? Like that's the challenge of when you're like
It
doing this
is.
professionally. Like,
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that
yeah, I
that's the
know.
way.
I don't want people to get the wrong impression because you have to make decisions about things
Yeah.
that this is what you do, right? And sometimes you build a car that is super cool in one way, but then you got to build a car that's cool in another way, right? And maybe one's
I saw an interview with Christine Catherine Roosh once, and she said her book that made her the most money in her entire career was the one she was contractually obligated to write, and hated writing every single word of it. But it's made her the most money. It was a Star Wars book.
I saw a post the other day that I'm not sure of its validity, but it was saying that Val Kilmer didn't want to be in Top Gun, but he was contractually obligated to be in Top Gun. And that turned out to be one of his most
Iconic roles.
So he
iconic
refused to
roles.
speak, and they turned that into like a really great character development.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm doing what I love and getting paid for it. But I still, as I get older, I really want to finish writing that fantasy series that I keep talking about. And every year I say I'm going to get some work done on it. And every year
It's Brandon Sanderson math, man. That's what he
everything
said, right? Was he realized that he had about 25 books left in him. And, the books he had to write and the books he wanted to write were way more than 25.
Yeah. Well, I have more than 25 books left in me, I hope.
He's trad pub, right? His 25 books will take him 40 years.
Well, he's trad pub-ish.
True.
The other thing I wanted to note for people thinking that
I'm probably going to pass. I'm probably going to pass 100 books by the end of 2026, unless I die.
Yeah, you'll get there. And for anybody freaking out about 1,000,000 words a year, that is
that's a lot. Just FYI,
it's a lot, but it's under 3,000 words a day. So
every
the key is not how many words you write per day. The key is you have to do it
every day.
Every day.
Right.
That's the hard part because it's so easy to say I'm not going to do it today.
Consistency is the key to success in this business.
Mindset and consistency. We'll add that one to the list.
Well, I said success is 100% success is mindset. And mindset brings you consistency. There's a lot of things that are 100% key to success in this business. Math is one of them.
What was it that Kevin Costner said in the Untouchables? Losing is half the battle. Many things are half the battle. Let's concentrate on what is all the battle.
As you get closer to the end, you just keep dividing it in half and in half and in half. And what do they call that? That's basically the Greeks inventing algebra way back in the day with that story about the you just keep dividing the box in half.
What is that called? There's a story about that and I can't remember.
Right. It's never mind. That's a tangent. Well, I want to hear about more about these secret projects, but
they can't say it because they're secret.
Because they're secret, right? So we'll just raise the tension for everybody that's listening.
Well, the problem is you're never going to find out.
When you buy a boat, we'll know. Rick got a boat.
This is in Wyoming. What's he gonna do with a boat?
I know what it is, James. It's Zeno's paradox.
Mm-hmm. He's going to just sit in his boat and like pretend they're bass out in the cow field.
How about you, James? What are your plans for this year?
We do have lakes around here.
Okay, so I haven't complained about it too much on this channel, but this was quite possibly the worst year of my life as far as trying to get work done. And going into 2024, like a lot of amazing opportunities came my way. And then we had an ice storm actually in January. And we had to bring, like, everybody lost power, had to bring my mom up to stay with me. And her house flooded while she was with us and was a complete loss. And so that meant my mom was living with us at that point. And my mom also had dementia a lot more than we expected. And this just started a cascading number of events that I had to build a cottage in my backyard for my mom. I had to manage the insurance claim, the remodel on her house, getting her house rented. And then we had also planned a remodel of our kitchen during this time. And it's depending on where you are, like it's almost impossible to get contractors. And once you set that time and when they're going to do the work, you got to do the work. And also, I didn't want my wife to divorce me because she had really looked forward to having this kitchen remodel. And I was already putting a lot on her with just having my mom move in with us, which she didn't get a lot of say in, bless her heart. And so it's just been a tough year. And I'm really looking forward to this next year. A lot of things are calming out. And like Jeff has said, like consistency, it really is the key to success. And in the past, I'm in a place like Josh where um haven't published a lot in the last 3 years, and a lot of that's just due to turnover in my life and having a difficult time establishing consistency. And so my job is getting a lot more consistent. I know what to expect from things with my mom. And so for me, that going into this year, like it is hitting those daily word counts. I've got one series I'm working on with Jeff that really has to be like we need 3 books by like May timeframe. So that is my hardcore press is getting that getting those books done and then seeing what happens the rest of the year. I really just want to write consistently is looking at that 3,000 words a day, like that's hard for me, but I can pretty easily do 1,000 words a day, and I just got to make that happen.
1,000 words a day is 365,000 words a year. I mean,
Right, which is a trilogy.
right every
Yeah.
day.
3 books.
That's
3 books.
Yeah, that's really good. That's about what I hit.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'm focused on. I mean, I have had great opportunities also in 2024. Like the Express Elevator to Hell anthology was a lot of fun, and
It
for
was
me,
nice having pretty much everybody agree that our 4 stories out of that anthology were the best.
that was yeah.
Or
I mean,
5 stories. I forget how many there were.
and it was also just fun to work with you guys. And one of the things that happened behind the scenes on that is we all got to work together on the world building and come up with the characters and think about how it fit into aliens or sort of the aliens concept. And that was just cool. And I have to stop and remind myself sometimes like how fortunate I am just to even be at the table with stuff like that. So, and even being part of this podcast for me is sort of an expression of faith in my ability to do things. Because I mean, I had a friend tell me just recently, it's like, hey man, you wrote a book, like be proud of that. And I'm like, I am. I mean, I've written many books, but once you get in that treadmill, it's all about the next book you wrote, right? Which can sometimes be hard to you finish
You're
the
only as
thing.
good as the last thing you did.
Exactly. And the longer it stretches on that you haven't done that last thing, the harder and harder it is, So I don't know. I'm excited about 2025. This is one of those years that it's like, man, 2025 will never exist, and now it does, and we're living in, Blade Runner time. So it's definitely life is better than Blade Runner. I'm excited. I'm happy about that. But um, yeah, I'm really excited about this year, and that's what my main focuses are writing and this podcast as far as creative outlets. Although I did get a guitar, and I'm going to work on guitar scales too, because I want to do something that is not writing, that is going to free my mind up to think about other creative pursuits. But I'm excited about this year. So, Jeff, I will hand it to you.
I'm excited about our project because I've read the first couple of chapters and it's stinking good. I mean, I was all hoo-ah on it because you obviously were in the army, so you nailed the army thing. Spoiler alert, it's about the Alliance in the Grimm's War universe rebuilding the army to become garrison troops, basically, for the worlds of the Caliphate that the Marines conquer. And I think James just killed it. And I'm excited for those books to come out whenever that is. So
They're coming out.
holding off. We were holding off making any kind of formal announcements just until we James was sure he could do it, and then I needed to talk to Steve and Red about it. But they assured me in the past that they'll publish anything I want. So there you go. For me, I've the last couple of years have been really rough. Welcome to the club, right? We're in the club rough. My son went deaf. My father-in-law passed away, and we were all very close to him. He was a wonderful man, and loved him to pieces. And we moved to Utah. It's just et cetera, et cetera.
And then the pollution in Salt Lake City.
Oh. I didn't expect my allergies to be so bad down here and the pollution to be so bad. And then my health has been issues and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
one of my favorite scenes in the Flash TV show, and one of my favorite side characters was Captain Cold. The actor was just amazing. I forget his name. And
The guy who played in Prison Break.
yeah, he is. And at one point he walked in, he was in a room with Barry Allen, and Iris came in, and she starts railing into him. And he's like, I don't know if he told you, but I had a rough childhood. And she's like, we've all had a rough childhood. You know, like, it's no excuse. You know, times are tough. Deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
So I published all of one book last year. This year, though, is going to be 3 is my goal. I'm almost done with Grimm's Legacy, which is turning out to be fantastic. It kind of takes the story in a bit of a new direction.
Kids are
I don't know
excited.
if you that's my deaf son, who has no volume control. And then I want to write at least 2 more Grimm books this year. And then I really enjoyed that Express Elevator to Hell series so much that I want to take the short story that I wrote and turn it into a whole series. But I haven't committed to that, so I haven't said anything about it to anybody. But if I do end up doing that, it will be 3/8 because they're my boys. I had a big contract for another publisher that just fell through, and not just, it fell through a couple months ago. But that's sort of the business. Sometimes things just don't work out. You write a book, and the people really love the idea, and they really like you as a writer, and then they get the book you wrote, and they're like, no. And that's kind of how it went. So it is what it is. No harm, no foul, no hard feelings, anything like that. I did get approached by I was about to say actually legitimate publisher, a large traditional publisher, to write a series. And I tried really hard to outline something for them, and I just couldn't do it because it wasn't what I wanted to write. And I wish I could be a little more mercenary in how I approach things, because it was a pretty lucrative opportunity. And I wish they would be more willing to accept a military sci-fi series, because I could have done that. But they wanted something like The Expanse, basically. And anybody who's read my books knows that that's not how I write. I read The Expanse. I hated everybody in it but Miller and Amos. Miller and Amos were the only 2 characters I liked. And, spoiler alert, they killed Miller, and Amos doesn't really do what I want him to do in the book. So anyways, also, it's not particularly scientifically accurate, a lot of the ways. Not that my books are 100% scientifically accurate, but for something that's hailed as, super scientific, it's a little frustrating to read it. Anyways, so that's not going to happen. But I am going to continue forward with the Grimm series and a new series, the Aethon, if I can make it work. I'm also tooling around with, this is something I talked about 2 more recently. A couple of years ago, I had a deal to write a Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon novel with a publisher, and they decided to go, wait for it, in a different direction. And that fell through.
That never happens.
That never happens. It happens a lot, apparently.
You might be seeing a theme here, or a constant thing that happens. So
yeah, and so it's important to be careful about what you talk about, before you, because that was the first time it happened to me, and I got really excited and told everybody I was going to be writing a Tom Clancy novel, because that's like, I'm a huge Tom Clancy fan, and I did all the work and did the outlines and worked with the editors, and then all of a sudden they ghosted me, which was weird. And the editor profusely apologized for it, saying that's not how she likes to do business, but that was what the company did. And so I got this outline for a military thriller sitting around, near future military thriller, and so I've always wanted to write a military thriller. It's called Operation Broadsword. So I've been tooling around with that on the weekends every once in a while, adding words to it. I might get around to finishing that at some point. But my big goal is 2 or 3 more Grimm books and a new series, and then helping James with his series. And I got one other person who's writing in the Grimm's universe. He's not 100% sure he wants to do 3 books yet, so we're holding off to wait until we make any announcements until he's written 1 or 2 books, because I don't want to go to Rhett and Steve and be like, hey, this guy wants to write these books, and let's do all the work, and then have them be like, yeah, I don't want to write it, So
Right.
I respect Rhett and Steve way too much to waste their time until I know for sure that it's going to happen. So And then I have I'm also so funny as Rick, you mentioned that is Craig also messaged me this morning, and every time I'm like, I'm not doing any anthologies. I don't particularly like doing anthologies. It's not super helpful to your career. But there's certain people I can't say no to, and Craig Martell's one of them. I would walk to Alaska if Craig Martell needed me. He's been nothing but helpful and kind to both me and Rebecca's career. And
Come on, man, couldn't you take a car?
well, what if I had to walk? That one guy did it. Of course, he died alone in the forest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make that mistake because I'm from Alaska, but I would try to tame a bear to be my friend. That's what would kill me. That's my wife laughing.
You need to ride a buffalo. You need to ride a buffalo.
So I'm going to be in that anthology too. He wants an original short story that doesn't require any introduction for people to get into. So that'll be fun. That's the only anthology, I swear, that's the only anthology I'm doing this year. And so, oh, right. Hey, Josh, do you know if we can talk about The Thing yet in September? Is that something we can talk about? The Thing with Rick and me and Larry Correa and Brett and Steve?
No,
No, okay.
not yet.
Okay. There's a thing in September that may or may not happen that could be really great. So
That took me a minute. I'm like, what's happening in September? Dragon Con. And then I was like, oh, that's not it.
so that could be really great, and we'll just stay tuned for that. Keep you on pins and needles with my cliffhanger. But 2025 is between 2020 to 2024 have not been the best years of anybody's life, I don't think. Well, in some respects and in others. I mean, obviously, in a career, I've never been this successful in a career in my life, but the world hasn't been the greatest place or whatever. But
the world in general, yeah.
I really believe that life is what you make of it. And 2025, I want it to be a great year, and I'm going to work hard to make it a great year, both personally and professionally. I've got a wonderful family. I'm going to have another one here in May, named Amelia Joy. And
your plans for 2025 do not involve sleep.
Right.
My plans for every year do not involve sleep. I've got 5 kids now, soon to be 6. And so, 2025 is going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year, and I hope it's a great year for everybody else too. Now, on to the podcast.
So we had, one of the things that we talked about in the beginning of this was like, hey, if we don't like doing this, then let's do a certain number of episodes and call it a day. No harm, no foul. And everybody's having a good time, it seems like, and it's been really great to see the response. As much as I want to get away from Facebook, and we had the Discord group, and I love everybody in the Discord group. We put the group on Facebook, and like, boom, all these people show up.
There's no getting away from Facebook. It's where everybody is.
I know.
Despite all the movies and TV shows saying only old people are on Facebook, everybody's on Facebook.
I still want to be part of sucking people back into Facebook, but
everybody with money is on Facebook because the kids don't have any money.
My point there is that people seem to like what we're doing, and that is gratifying. So we're gonna, like I said, this is the first episode of season 2. We're gonna carry on into 2025, and we are planning on doing more things. So more reviews, more movie reviews, and then we will continue to pontificate as we have been as well. So if you like listening to us talk, you're not going to miss out on any of that. But is there anything we didn't talk about before that anybody wants to see more of in 2025 from the show?
Well, and I think we talked a little bit of we're gonna try to include a variety of different elements into the show for season 2, for everyone, ourselves included. One of the things I think a lot of writers miss is the striving to continually improve their craft, and so we've talked about having subject matter experts on the show that aren't necessarily authors, but they are kind of experts in what they do in their field, that are adjacent to writing mil sci-fi, fighter pilots and that kind of thing, where we can get in and kind of pick their brain in a style where that information would be beneficial to the writer listeners of our show. And then also, obviously our interview with Richard Fox was really successful. And we want to continue to kind of to talk about talk with other authors about their craft and how they do things. And so in season 2, we're definitely going to have a little bit more variety of show, rather than just having us kind of wax eloquently on different things. We want to be able to bring real content and real value to the people that are taking the time out of the day to listen or watch the show. So stay on the lookout for that. We're not, it's, Jeff has said, and I agree, we don't want to turn it into just a show where we're having an interview with a guest every time. We want to give ourselves space and time to
I really
discuss
like our
things
content
among
focused,
ourselves.
direction,
For sure.
where every episode is, well, we drift, obviously. Every episode is a specific topic. And if we have a guest, the guest will be aligned with that topic. And maybe they have a new book they want to talk about too, which is fine. But
If the guests veer from the topic, they will be severely beaten.
Yes, they will be sacked
until morale improves. And if I don't want to turn into so-and-so's got a book coming out this week, let's put him on the show so he can talk about his book. And
Right.
And there are podcasts that do that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with podcasts that have people who aren't successful yet on to talk about, their journey and who they are as a writer.
Unless the guy is really successful and his book sucks, and we all think it sucks, that would be really funny, because then we could talk about it. The book sucks, man. What
Mostly
the hell
if they paid
Now
us.
anybody that's going to be on is going to be like, wait a second, am I the guy that sucks?
Yeah.
Read the book, find out for yourself.
But
I think maintaining an informative focus rather than a kind of promotional platform, if you want to call
Right.
it that, is kind of what we're more focused on than anything else. And
you can rest assured that anybody who comes on the show to talk about their subject or their writing is going to have the ethos to back it up, and
For
have
sure.
our all agreement that all 4 of us are in agreement on that this person is good at what they do and worth listening to.
Yeah. I think that's something we wanted to do from the beginning, is like military science fiction as a subgenre. What is there out there that defines what it is, talks about it, supports it, pulls books in that have elements of it that are, explicitly MILSF or have elements we like, just really to give if somebody's, hey, what's MILSF? You can point at this podcast or the Facebook group or, whichever group we end up landing on. That's where you go to find that. And I think we've gotten started with it definitely in this last year. And I've been really like the episode talking about what's the difference between MILSF and space opera, like that. I really enjoyed that episode because I think it's a thing that is confusing for a lot of, not confusing, I should say, but there's a line there that things get called MILSF that are not MILSF.
LSF
right.
ends when the troops go home. Space opera ends when the fat alien sings.
Well done, Rick. Well done.
Yes. But I'm really glad that episode exists as a thing, and whether or not it ever, I think it will have an audience. The audience that's a thing we could point people to for years to come. And that's the kind of stuff that I would like to put out there from, for this podcast.
We're almost done. He's good.
Well, and I think too, with the Facebook group starting, which I'm grateful that people have joined. But we've had the Discord kind of as a standalone in and of itself for a while since we started the podcast. And if you're watching this and you join the Facebook group, but you don't necessarily like Facebook, hop over to the Discord. But also in either location, if there's a subject that you guys want us to talk about or expand upon, or we've talked about doing reviews. We've talked about doing movie and book reviews. The book reviews they take a little bit more work, but we do want to try to attempt to do some of those. Rick's suggestion in the private Discord was that I read Starship Troopers, and maybe this year I'll do that, and then I could be.
Listen to it. RC Bray's. I listened to RC Bray's audio of the book, and he nails it. I mean, he was born to be Johnny Rico.
Look, I will make a commitment that this year I will listen to Starship Troopers, and
You
then
will
we
listen
can
to
talk
the
about it.
seminal military sci-fi that created the entire genre. Good job.
Yeah, and I can be the dissenter.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to see more. I
I
think
review
we've
some
all
John
been-
Ringo too.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, give people a place to go. Like this, these are kind of the seminal works in the genre that you should go read. Like, not just, but then you can see. I think it for me it increases my enjoyment of other books when I see that they're like, hey, they're doing something like Heinlein did, or they're doing something like Ringo did, or you know, crap. Why did Hammer Slammer's author just got on my name?
Great, David Drake.
David
Drake.
Drake.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually reading Hardwired by Walter John Williams, and I wasn't aware that
Great book.
Cyberpunk. He actually wrote like the two books, Hardwired and Voice of the
Voice of the
Whirlwind,
Whirlwind.
were source books for Cyberpunk 2077, the role playing game. But there's so many things in that book that have become just tropes now
Yep.
that it's super enjoyable to read that and see like where it started. So I don't know. Where I'm going with this is I would love to see people in those groups. We were talking about this with promo threads. Like maybe we don't just let people throw in their books. Like, no, you need to go get a fan to write an actual multi-paragraph review of why they like, not an Amazon review, but what is cool about this book. Because that's the stuff I would love
You
to
can
see.
start a Facebook thread once a month if you are an author and you want to promote your book. Once a month, there will be a thread that appears in the Facebook group. You can just put a link in there and let your book stand on its own. No talking about it. No, nothing like that. Just put a link in. If people like the cut of your jib, they'll buy the book. But
And
otherwise,
we also want to have our members review books they love too.
yes,
Right.
otherwise,
100%.
like what James is talking about. If you have a book that you love and you didn't write it, post about it in the Facebook group, because that's the best way to get people to read a book, is to talk about how great it is. I mean, the number of people I have got to read Armor by talking about it or giving it to them is, a lot of people, at least 12.
We'll get more people. We're going to bring Armor back. Armor is I look forward to talking about Armor because that's an interest. This is some interesting
Definitely a
stuff
book
about
review we need to do. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but it is the basis for Halo. So
Yeah, and we should review Voice of the Whirlwind, because Hardwire is not necessarily military science fiction, but I think Voice of the Whirlwind qualifies.
Yeah.
And the Ringo Aldanata, at least the first 4 books, like Him Before Battle, those first 4.
I'll read the first one. I don't have time to read a whole series, but I can read the first one.
We could just do a Him Before Battle. But yeah, there's a lot of classic military science fiction out there that I think only 2 of us have read.
Well,
I haven't read Armor.
Yeah.
What?
You haven't read
I don't know
Armor?
if that surprises you guys or not, but
Well, Armor even I think is interesting to talk
Josh,
about.
text me your address. I'm sending you a copy.
Yeah. How the book is structured, and the first part of it is absolutely MILSF, and then it turns into like you think it's going one direction.
There's two different books, right? There's the
Yeah.
There's the MLSF, and then there's kind of a space opera type of book that's kind of it's hard to explain.
But
what
the
it
part
I know,
with
that's the
Felix, the part of the book that has just Felix and Armor is absolutely MILSF.
Mhm.
And then the other part is just other people watching what he did and being like, how did he do that?
nice.
The guy only wrote 2 books. He
Yeah.
wrote Armor and he wrote Vampires. And so they're completely
Vampires with
different
a $sign for the S.
because they got paid.
It's it was Vampires with a $sign for the S. I'm thinking it came out before Monster Hunter International, so it's kind of like one of the founders of the feast of people who get paid to hunt monsters, because it's basically about a group of bounty hunters who hunt down vampires for the Vatican for money.
We gotta go find him.
That's cool.
Is he still alive?
No, he
No, he
died.
passed away years ago. But Vampires is a movie with
James Woods,
James Woods.
Huh.
It's a good movie.
but the movie is nothing like the book. So
All right. Well, hey, we got to wrap things up. But let us know what you would like to see in the coming year. And, if you're listening to things we're saying and it sounds good or it sounds crazy, let us know. Can I put a link to the Facebook group? I'm pretty sure I can do that in the YouTube. So I
Yeah.
will do that. We don't want to completely abandon Discord. I think Facebook forces you to have whatever an identity on Facebook, and if you don't want that, then stay in Discord. You can always tag us, and we'll see it. So
Based on
Yeah.
the number of people who joined our Discord, I'm pretty sure everybody's on Facebook.
I know. But all right. Well, hey, thank you for hanging out
Don't
with us.
forget to like and subscribe.
Like and
share.
subscribe. Tell people about the show.
Mash that subscribe button.
We've only got like 900 subscribers to go before we can make $2 a month. So
Blast it.
Yeah.
Blast the subscribe button. That's what you do because we're a military side
mash
button.
it. Super important. I'm just going to buy a bunch of bots that'll monetize the show.
Let's stroke that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Stroke to the head.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you all next time. Later.
Military science fiction podcast. Reaction to the system on fire.